Hi everyone, my name is Daniela Kaczynski, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about hospital food. So basically, before I start, I just want you guys to think about any memories or experience you have with hospital food and think back to if it was either a positive or negative memory. So, the typical hospital food. When you think of hospital food, you probably think of chicken, gravy, and a pudding or jello. These are made with artificial sweeteners and can be served to patients right after a surgery. Unfortunately, these are the type of food that is standard in most hospitals in the US. The food that is being served to patients, staff, and visitors is mostly junk food products. These products run very high in sugar, unhealthy fats, salt, and are normally very processed. So, what if hospitals actually supported health and healing? There have been so many scientific studies that prove how important whole foods and plant based power meals can help provide better nutrition and can even help sick patients. Yet, we don't really see this too often. It can even reverse chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, among many other health conditions. So, my question is, will plant based foods be the future of hospital foods? We'll see that later on in my video. So, some health and nutrition issues. Hospitals provide meals to not only their patients, but also to visitors and employees every single day. This is why it's such a shock that the place that is supposed to keep you healthy is not holding up their claim. Hospitals are falling short or not meeting the requirements to be an acceptable standard in terms of the food they are serving to their patients. With my own experience of being in a hospital as an intern, I noticed there was really only 4 options for kids to pick from for lunch or dinner. The 4 options included mac and cheese, hot dog or hamburger, chicken fingers, or pizza. So if you see on the left, the picture I provided is a healthy, balanced diet, and it includes some fruits and vegetables, rice, potatoes, meat, eggs, beans, milk, dairy. While on the right picture is a typical meal you would get while staying in the hospital. As you can see, it's hot dogs, chips, and Diet Pepsi. Yet, it has been reported that hospitals are not meeting the requirements to support healthy food and beverage environment, which means that patients, visitors, and employees are not meeting the nutritional values they need. According to the NHS, a balanced, healthy diet consists of a base meal such as starchy food like potatoes, bread, rice, or pasta, including some dairy, protein such as beans, fish, eggs, meat, and also to choose unsaturated oils and spreads. So, all 3 of these pictures are actual pictures people have encountered in a hospital. So, the picture all the way to the left is actually a meal that was provided to a woman who just gave birth. The second picture is a meal of one woman describing how overcooked the foods can be. And the last picture I found kind of funny because it's actually someone claiming that this was the best meal they've received in the hospital. So, why is hospital food so unhealthy? According to Food Revolution Network, many hospitals really just need to make money. Therefore, they typically have small food budgets. Not to mention, they have to make huge quantities of food for patients, staff, and visitors. With this mass production, the food is normally bought in bulk from large companies. So, a little history of hospital food. In 1955, Dr. Garfield worked out the plans for introducing microwave ovens into Kaiser Foundation hospitals. He claimed it would be an easier way to serve patients warm food. So, while yes, of course, the patients were getting warm food, they were not getting the healthy foods they should have been, or the nutritional food they should have been. Instead, they were getting TV dinners. If anyone doesn't know what a TV dinner is, they are packaged meals which are normally frozen, which you just put in the microwave and they are good to go. Although microwave ovens continue to serve as part of the toolkit to getting patients warm food, we now know that it is not the healthiest option. Most of those food are high in sodium and sugars. Fresh meals as we know today would be the better option. Also, the picture to the right is actually a real microwave oven that was used in the hospital in the 1950s. So, some arguments, viewpoints, and evidence. Some examples as to why hospitals do not provide healthier food are pricing and budgets, how long the food will last for, and where they are getting the food from. So, the vendors, and the community or hospital staff recognizing there is an issue with the food. According to TVO, budgets and how they are administered are among the biggest reasons as to why there aren't as many scratch made wholesome food compared to the prepackaged reheated food a lot of hospitals are serving to their patients today. A main reason as to why hospital food doesn't reach its potential is because the stakeholders are not engaged themselves, meaning people such as human resources or hospital leadership teams do not eat the food and therefore they are not aware of the issues. Now, personally, I don't know if I agree with they aren't so much aware because they're in the hospitals and surrounded by it every single day. So I don't believe that it's not that they're aware, but there really isn't anything they can do about it. So instead, they decide to look the other way. Most employees who work in the hospital and entitled to a meal card where they get a different variety of options every day with fresh food, protein bars, and a lot more healthier options than the patients are getting. Now, when I worked in the hospital myself, I was able to get a meal card, and the different varieties of options I had to choose from that were included on the meal card were crazy compared to what the patients were actually receiving themselves. So, although what hospitals aren't realizing is that switching to healthier food could actually save the hospital money. A health system in Detroit saved more than $28,000 by getting rid of its deep fryers and deep fried foods and increasing the fruit and vegetable purchases. So, some political, clinical, cultural, and social factors and forces. Personally, I have never really heard any good stories about hospital food. And I'm sure if you think back to any times, majority, they're not really good. So, word of mouth is a huge reason as to why hospital food is not thought to be tasty or healthy. When people describe hospital food, it always has negative comments, which lead to other people to remember what they were told and base someone else's experience with their own experience. This is why our social issue comes into play. It is very hard to base your own opinion about things when you already have someone else's opinion in the back of your mind. Hospitals are always being funded and donated to, yet almost none, if any, of the funding or donation are actually used for the food throughout the hospital. For example, Ontario's hospital feeds patients 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day on a budget about less than $8 per day per patient. So it really is no surprise here as to why many hospitals stick to bland sandwiches, canned fruit, and jello. Hospitals aim for four things when feeding their patients. One, nutritionally balanced, although majority of the time it never really is. Two, broadly appealing, which, if you saw the pictures beforehand, also not normally. Three, cost effective, which, if you look at Ontario's, it is definitely cost effective. And four, easy to assemble. So in America, hospital food should be much better than it is for how much patients pay in insurance just to be there. On the other hand, Japan looks like they have figured out the key to happy patients when it comes to hospital food. So in these four pictures that I provided are real meals that patients would get in a hospital. In this case, it was what they were serving to mothers after giving birth. So the picture in the previous slide, as I was just saying, is an example of what women are expected to get after giving birth. By all accounts, most of the costs of these meals are covered by insurance. So if Japan is able to do this for their patients, the question that confuses me the most is why we aren't able to, or really why we don't, especially if most of ours insurance cover being in the hospital. So some ethical considerations. It seems as though hospitals are going in the right direction to try and make the food more appetizing as well as more nutritional. In the next few slides, I am going to walk you through step by step of what needs to be done in order to make a serious change in our hospitals. So step one is to engage the stakeholders. The first step would be to engage stakeholders and partners. The more people involved, the more that will be done. Stakeholders may include, but are also not limited to, hospital leadership teams and executives, human resources, food and nutritional services personnel, food, beverage, and vending purchases or contractors. These stakeholders help to provide critical input into the development of the program and help to promote healthier choices. Step two is to form a team. This step comes into play once stakeholders have been engaged. This team should also include members that may be affected by any changes, such as staff or even patients, and it can even include family members. It is important to share information among one another and talk about the issues with the hospital food to come up with ways that it can be fixed. Step three is to conduct a policy and environment assessment. This policy will be important because it will be assessing what is currently being done and what will support healthier choices. Policies such as physical activity may be good options to include to structure programs. There are questions to look at to determine how to make this policy work. One is what proportion of hospital staff or visitors use the venue for food. Two, what is different or unique about the people who eat the food, such as certain diets they are on, such as vegetarians. Three, how will this overall help patients, visitors, and staff receive a more healthy and balanced diet while being at the hospital? Step four is to access needs and identify goals. Each hospital is very unique, so assessments, needs, and goals can vary throughout them all. The best suggestion is to find what fits best for your hospital. So overall, many are facing the same issues. Being able to determine what needs to be done first is 1, cost effective, 2, healthy foods, 3, healthier beverages, and 4, appetizing and appealing. Step 5, develop implementation and maintenance plans. This can include getting in touch with new or different vendors who can provide you with healthier foods, maybe for a decent price as well. If the only vendors you have are providing really junk food and for a higher cost, then maybe they're not the best vendors to provide for your hospital. This can even by switching out healthier snacks in the vending machines in the hall to offer healthier choices. Come up with ideas that are still fast ways of cooking, but better options than just microwavable food, warming food up, or sandwiches. Talk to the patients. See what they would like to do help determine decisions. I mean, overall, the majority of the ones eating the food, they should have a say on what they want. Step 6 is evaluation. Lastly, once this all works out, it is important to check in with the patients, visitors, and even the staff to see how the new food is. Is it tastier? Is it healthier? Are they satisfied? Is it appealing? Did you make a good choice? If you can say yes to all of the top four questions, it's a good sign that you did make a good choice. So, what is being done right now? U.S. health organizations are calling for hospitals to offer plant based food options. They actually want to support patients with healthy food. The American Medical Association House of Delegates, which they are a group which represents more than 200,000 physicians, just issued a statement on June 14th, 2018, that there will be changes to hospital food for all patients, staff, and visitors. They plan on 1. Increasing healthful, plant based meal options, 2. Eliminate processed meals from menus, and 3. Provide and promote healthful beverages, which is getting rid of sugary drinks and sodas. So, what is being done right now? UCLA Medical Center switched over to organic food, offering low fat, plant based meals made with no animal products or oils. The University of Vermont Medical Center aims to have the most sustainable healthcare service in the country by soon providing their patients and staff with minimally processed foods, allowing patients to order food when they want, and for the cafeteria to serve fresh and organic ingredients. Overall, this is just two medical centers that are stepping up to make improvements, while there are so many other mores too, which is a great thing. So, overall, hospitals who are trying to help their patients are not helping when it comes to what they are serving them to eat. The patients are there to be helped and healed, yet, that is not exactly what the food is doing at all. The food have really no nutritional values and are also not really appealing to eat either. I mean, I showed you in the beginning the picture of what the balanced diet should look like and what patients are actually receiving, and they don't even come into comparison. So, the more people that get involved and engaged, the faster improvements will be. It all has to start with a little step that can truly help improve the nutritional value of food for their patients. Lastly, it is really good to see some hospitals taking action into their own hands and getting the food they need improved to help not only patients, but staff and visitors as well. So, I would just like to add that after interning in a hospital setting myself, I was very disappointed to see the lack of nutritional values that the patients were receiving. Um, I also worked in the pediatric center, so especially seeing the kids not receiving the nutrition that they really should be getting, especially when they're sick. So to be able to see now how far hospitals are becoming and getting a plan together to improve the food that they are serving and start making it plant-based diets and really to fit everybody's needs, it's really satisfying to see so much happening. So, thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you guys learned a decent amount about hospital food. Thank you.